I'm fine with playing this hero. Alright, everybody, hello and welcome to SunnyRedemption Sailing, your bi-weekly voyage for BS3 gaming news. And let's not waste any time, any more time than Streamlabs has for us, and kick it off with the last possible moments Nintendo Direct. This show was made for you, buddy. Seriously. Like, Monster Hunter Stories 3, alone. I didn't really know what the story series was, but I knew it was more casual. And now I'm like, okay.
I only played the first stories and not very much.
I see. Well, let me do high seas, and either I can sail as Thousand Sunny, or you can.
Yeah, but Stories 3 looks cool, and it's also on Xbox, which is kind of surprising, honestly. It's the first two are not. They will come eventually, at least two. I figured if they did a Switch port of the first game.
Ah.
I imagine they did, but I'm not actually sure.
It doesn't seem like it. It seems like it was only on 3DS. Sea of Thieves services are temporarily unavailable. What? I'm just rejoining my previous session. Okay, let's set sail. Why not? And hope it works. If not, we can play something else. So, yep, temporarily unavailable. Let's see what... Probably not, but it's worth a shot. I know, right? But we have just not been having any luck today. But, okay, so... I know, right. Okay. So I'm gonna do no, because you're gonna invite me. But anyway. So, I mean... Okay. Octopath Traveler 0. That looks cool, but not for me, because I didn't... Of 2?
Yeah. And I like the story of the first one with all the that's what you call that other game that is it's sort of a spiritual successor to that SNES game that I can't think of the name of. That they also, remade a few years ago.
Hmm. Ah.
But I liked it in the first game, but the second game just, I think I did, like, one of the sort of first parts of one of the stories, got to another one, and was like, alright, just stop this one. And it kind of went that way in the first game, where some of them were less interesting than others, but, I don't know, it just felt like a little more of the same ending. The new combat system could go a long way, but not long enough.
Well, since I suck at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, do you have Power Wash Simulator installed at all?
I don't. Here, I actually just made it in the game.
Oh, yeah, try inviting me then. Oh gosh. Well, I can't really imagine why a bunch of people would be playing and overloading the servers right now, because the big game right now is Grounded 2 for Xbox, and that I've been just playing that. I just got the Amp Buggy, which is so awesome. Yeah, I want to play with that if you have a chance at all before you come over and see me. Or I suppose. Well, Saturday I'm gonna be streaming my big Delta Papers #2, raging against this criminal regime. So, shameless plug, at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be streaming BioShock and not obeying. Okay, I am not continuing to join a game because... Oh wait, no. Send me the invite again, I'm sorry. I thought it was my own invite, and yeah. So, I psyched myself out there. Okay. Okay, setting sail. Thank goodness. Please.
For my crew, hopefully let's win.
My goodness, what is going on with this servers today? But anyway, okay. So, like, and then obviously you're excited for Yakuza Kiwami too. I don't even have to ask.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, I'm interested to see if they do anything to it. Like, because I've been kind of on the fence. I've been wanting to replay Yakuza 0, and they did the director's cut.
Oh, right, yeah.
Switch 2, and it's like, oh, I kind of wanted to play that with the English dub. That's the first time they've done that game. But I don't know what they're doing for Kiwami 2. If they do have something interesting that they're going to do, like an English dub, maybe I buy it eventually. But 0 director's cut, I think that's going to sale anyways. The version, it's interesting that they like did this whole thing with 0, but then with Kiwami, I think they're just doing like an upgrade for the existing SKU that's on there. So it's weird that they're doing all this stuff for, well, I guess Kiwami 2 was never on the Switch, so that's new.
Yeah.
But I thought 0 was. You know, maybe 0 never was. That would explain why they haven't been corrected yet. Definitely was, so they're just doing an upgrade.
Just got some cursed cannonballs, by the way.
It's kind of weird that it's kind of Kiwami savage that just inexplicably never made the switch. Alright, you don't have a ton of time, maybe like a fishing point.
Yeah. Selling quick for sure. Okay, so, well, the game that I was the most excited for the show, for the direct, was definitely Plants vs. Zombies Remastered. My goodness. Well, Replanted, I guess, because it's not really a remaster. It already looked excellent. I guess it's just a 1080p version, because, like, you have to imagine on iPads it wasn't that brighter or colorful or HD, and then, oh yeah, and then on Xbox 360 it was 720p. That was also the only version with local co-op, so I'm excited for everybody else to get to experience that fun. I'm also extremely curious what the clouded mode and the PvP are going to look like. The clouded mode, you get a little less sun, and then it's also a little bit rainy, so like maybe you get more plants, I think. I'll have to get my hands on it because it's $20. I'll scoop that up for just for the ability to play this game again with the split Joy-Con with my sister. Let alone Little Man when I see him in October. Though he's definitely not getting any new things of his own for a bit when it comes to video games. I'm excited to play with him. I'm going to get Sonic's Cross Worlds to do that. Because that looks really cool. The Switch 2 version doesn't come out in time for me to go there. But I'm glad it's on a full cartridge. You know, that Sega listened. Anyway, so, more of the show, my goodness. Well, do you want to just go off with whatever you were excited about? What else were you excited about?
There was that other Square game that like, I used to...
Oh, Tales of Elliot?
Yeah.
I tried the demo. Well, this isn't the beginning of the weirdness. It's there's a desert environment right next to a grassland biome outside the castle, and so it feels like you're in a bit of a fantasy western, if that makes any sense. So it's just very mishmashy, but in an interesting way. My guess? Some people game jammed at the end of Octopath Traveler 2 development, and then they came out with this as a side project. I don't want to pay more than side project prices for it, like maybe $30 would be the max. But it is fantastic so far. I am loving every moment. from the speedy movement that you can get with the fairy, who is a little bit annoying, and I wish they would tone down the dialogue a little bit, but that's why they have the feedback form, so... Yeah, I thought I mentioned. But yes, I have been playing the demo, and that was fantastic, like I said. You have a shield, you have the dash, and then you have sword and bombs. The bombs are not as useful as I would like, but I do hear you get a bow and then guns later. So I think it's up to you what secondary you want, but I hope there's also more primaries than the sword. However, it is really nice to, like, speed behind somebody with the fairy, then stab them, and then speed away again and drop a bomb somewhere else. But also, you do have to use your shield every once in a while, because there are certain challenges that require that. I just did a life trial, too. Like, I think I'm stuck on a particular objective, so it's just suspended on my Switch currently. But I definitely want to get back to that as soon as I can. Again, fantastic. The game that I'll definitely pay $30 for, though, is Shinobi. Whoa! I've also been playing the demo with that one. And, well... Well, they, yeah, it was a bit of a confusing rollout there for a second, just because sometimes it takes a few hours for servers to reflect or something. Ooh, I hear a mermaid statue, and it's a green. So, that's cool. Well, it's just a little bit to the left of the ship, so. Anyway, so this game is so tight and fun to control. And I die, but it never feels unfair. Like, sometimes the Nintendo hard stuff just feels unfair, and then it's like, haha, deal with it, loser. But, well, for my first time playing Shinobi, I felt pretty decent. Maybe it feels a little un-Shinobi in some respects to some hardcore fans with the inclusion of, like, ultimates and stuff. But, you know, they look really flashy and awesome, so I don't care. At all. And I'm also glad we got Hunter's Call reputation real quick with these gems. I didn't realize you could do that. Huh. Well, in any case. Okay. Okay. Just about to get to grade 2. I'll repair. You get us out of here. Anyway. Another game I was excited for was Chronos: The New Dawn. Ow. Which looks like Bloober Team's take on Dead Space, basically. And I have no problems with that, because they've been creeping towards having more gameplay in their games. And, like, the shooting looks pretty competent, at least. You know, so pretty good show overall for that reason. But I want to get more into Ground 2 for a second, because holy shit, it might just be my favorite survival game ever and my game of the year. Like, stealing the crown from Donkey Kong. And I've just gotten the last transformation for that, the snake, so... but, like, in any case, what is... Oh, okay, that's the fish we actually have to do. Okay. Ah. Yeah, I've been barreling them. What? At least they're, on the whole, so far, less annoying to collect than moons were in Odyssey. I mean, a lot of it is helped by the fact that you could smash your obstacles and stuff in very interesting ways. I got stuck for a little bit on the last snake transformation record, but then I came up with a power with my elephant transformation that actually helped me save the day on that one, so I am thrilled about that. I was able to figure that out on my own intuitively. You know, this game can be tough with the boss fights at times, and sometimes a little cheap, but yeah, no, it's fantastic. I don't know how people, like, level 90% or whatever of the levels. It's just, that seems to take a really long time for no reason, but people do dumb shit in video games for no reason. That's part of the fun, and part of the fun with Grounded is, again, I just turned off my brain and played. Like, I got excited by the concept of Grounded since I, like a lot of 90s kids, aughts kids, saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids as a child, and realized that, yes, our parents were better than that. Very low bar. But the UI and gameplay just was very clunky throughout its life, and we never really got to get together, which didn't give me much momentum to get into it by myself. I have been pouring time these past couple of days into the single player for Grounded. Like I said, I got the ant buggy, and that requires a decent bit of effort when it comes to crafting. Though I have it set on easy, and that's been helpful too. I still die, don't get me wrong, because there are some terrifying times with this game. Like, I had to get some acorns, right? And I found them in a soda can. And then a scorpion attacked. And I had to run all the way back after that point in order to get my stuff. I think it does create multiple bags, so it's not like Dark Souls where you lose everything. But, you know, it's still an inconvenience to try and get these things. And until you get the ant buggy, it's not like you could just raffle stomp most things. Though I have gotten upgrades to the most powerful weapon, like javelins, the most powerful warhammer, a weevil shield. I mean, this game is so deep. There's the cooking right by the fire, which I had a battle with a ladybug, who I played keep away with my with my cooking spit in the middle of us, and it got damaged a little, actually. So there is damage and repair and stuff, but it's fairly easy to repair all your stuff, at least on this difficulty. And then, like, oh my gosh, the story is actually really interesting. I didn't really know what the first one was, so it's handy that they recap it for us, and then have a really good explanation for why you're actually getting shrunk again. And so we set off on our adventure, and it's actually really cool. I think I know who the mystery voice on the radio is, but I don't know why the friendly Burgle head was robot head was taken or whatever, and what caused the explosion and all that jazz. So that shrunk us. It definitely will get easier with co-op, because I need you to make some progress on here, since I'm stuck on a orc scorpion fight. That's like a purple one that can't be damaged by normal weapons, so you have to use the ant buggy. But the ant buggy AI fucking sucks, and and so it keeps getting killed, and then I get killed. So that's why I'm a little bit stuck on the story, and will need your help when you can. Because then at least you can aggro.
I mean, I've supposedly got 3 days off, so I'm playing.
Yeah?
It's very, like, I looked at my schedule the past 6 weeks that I've been working, because I've been working like crazy. I've had more than 1 day off in a row in 6 weeks. So
Oh gosh.
I'm very ready for that. They actually, part of the reason I was a little late, like 5 minutes late, was because my overnight manager was trying to get me to finish tomorrow, and I just said no.
Gosh.
No, I'm gonna take a day off.
Oh.
Enjoy my 3 days off. So
Yeah.
I really need it.
Well, at least I have some work coming down the pipeline, but the days that are slow are so slow that it's like, well, I have to keep one eye on my laptop, obviously, but I can't really just, like, relax either. You know, like, I'm not stimulated by work either, is what I meant. So it's been this, like, anchor chain dragging on my emotions, being in the middle of a federal agency while there's a court case being fought over your very existence. It's just like this oppressive blanket of silence under fascism, and I hate it. But I need to stay there, so yeah, I put up with it for now. In any case, yeah, so... Oh, and then I saw the streams for Battlefield 6. It looks awesome.
I don't know about that at all. I saw it was happening like a little bit later for real, but I haven't had time to check it out yet.
I'm hoping I got an unlock code so that I can get into the beta a little earlier, but the open beta should be fairly soon, and then even I could play that or something. Well, let's see. And by the way, they're not raising the price to $80 for that one. It's just $70 for now. Because
If Call of Duty's launching this year, 17, no way Battlefield will go
yeah,
even for EA.
yeah. The problem is that that Microsoft had the game that people would pay $80 for, and then they decided that they would rather charge that for the Outer Worlds 2 instead. Like what?
Such a weird, like, if there was, like I said, if there's one game that they could have done it for and not, like, hurt their sales potential too much, it would be Call of Duty. But then, inexplicably, they're like, no, Call of Duty. I mean, maybe they would have announced that later on if they decided the Outer Worlds had 80, but then they turned on the Outer Worlds. It's like, well, we can't announce another $80 game. Burned all their goodwill on that one.
Yeah.
Call of Duty $70.
Put out games first, then change the prices. Well, I'll get to Microsoft later, but like, man, the gameplay looks really cool. The destruction looks actually current gen. It feels like this is the year that current gen has arrived.
So, like, this generation's version of, like, I remember when Battlefield 4
Yeah, exactly.
came out, and it was just like, oh my god.
Just particles everywhere, and like, I think that's where games should go. Is the graphics have plateaued, so go into simulation more. That's what this generation should have been about. Is like complexity and better AI in games and stuff. But now they're just gonna throw squish their LLM shit into it and call it AGI for Xbox or whatever. But like the kinds of things that simulation could do, it just blows my mind. Like, this guy needs two 32 gigabyte graphics cards for this, but what was it? I can't remember the name right now. Hang on. But I watch their videos all the time. It's been a long week. Anyway, Crash Frontier. Have you ever seen that channel? So they basically make action movie scenes in Beam.ng with, like, some of the performance is able to be saved by, like, slowing down things for action movie reasons, but, like, can you imagine if there was a console where you could have a playable version of an entire cargo ship rolling down the highway on a trailer and smashing so many cars, like, or just like more than voxel-based destruction for a game that can really, push what the teardown concept can do, or that million-man battle that Obsidian pitched to Microsoft at the beginning of the development phase for Xbox One. Where they wanted to have the cloud take care of that sort of thing, and maybe that's what they do this time because they have the opportunity, and the technology's better for that, and they have more than one game that could take advantage of that. Meaning Crackdown 3, for those who don't know. But yeah, like... Okay. I still can't get over the fact that I basically barely turned on my Xbox at all for more than a YouTube machine, except maybe to play a little bit of Disney Villains Cursed Cafe, which is really entertaining. And it's like, yeah, I could totally see Jafar starting to cryptocurrency. But, like... Sorry. 1 second. So that's why we haven't been moving. Oops. But yeah, I haven't been playing my Xbox since... like the beginning of this month, really, for the most part, except for Grounded 2. Again, this shows how, good games bring people to your platform. And this is exclusive for a little bit. I checked. I wanted to say like, hey, maybe I get it on Nintendo Switch too. I wanted to buy into that, but maybe they actually just have the exclusivity period be the early access period for all these games. Because honestly, like, I'd be more than willing to have Halo whatever beta be part of Game Pass for a while, and yeah, maybe people would complain about being paid beta testers, but like, it's still exclusivity for a little bit. Because you're actually helping people develop the game. Like what strikes me is that Everwild was basically left to rot for 10 years with no direction from the publishing heads and all that. They just neglected this thing and then killed it. They could have killed Perfect Dark way earlier when it's had plenty of problems, but they waited 6 years?
That's the most bewildering part of like any stuff with the cancellation is like, it's one thing to give developers full control and creative control. It's like that's a noble goal and effort, but there needs to be hands on the wheel from someone,
Yeah, like.
And it feels like this wasn't happening.
It's
one thing to be like micromanaging and demanding, like being a publisher that's like,
which is what Microsoft was in the early Xbox One generation.
Exactly. So I think they sort of steered away from that a little too far the opposite direction.
Definitely. It also.
Like, okay, well, the feedback we got from all our developers is, be more hands off, so we will chop our hands off.
Yeah, no.
That's the lesson they got.
Uh,
Not to like, watch from a distance and just keep things.
Canon of Rage? Oh, that is so cool.
Oh, wait. Oh, I've never seen that before.
Huh. Cannon gets hot, or managed the heat to avoid an explosion. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on. But you can fire it and stuff, so it's not like it's gonna rage and explode.
Probably gonna be selling after these fish anyways.
Yeah.
Much more keep in the water
Oh. Okay, yeah, fair. But yeah, like.
on the beach in the water.
Oh, that's fair. So the thing that strikes me is that, again, like, retaining developers helps with that kind of thing. With like, new people figuring out what to do, because if you have to constantly kick off people and then hire on contractors every 6 months or a year and a half or whatever.
All of that stuff just makes no sense.
And now
No sense in terms of like.
And
Other disciplines, sure, within Microsoft or other tech disciplines, sure, whatever, but.
well,
There is the long, arduous effort, and you don't get to somewhere like Nintendo where you can, seemingly effortlessly, although it is still years of effort.
yeah, that's the important thing.
On a still semi-underpowered machine and have it look and run that well, you don't get to that point by, like, passing off a lot of the talent and shedding that talent.
Yeah, so that's interesting that you brought that up, because I read that that dkbananza was being made by the younger developers of EPD8, while the older developers worked on Mario, and I have to imagine that a lot of the design and like just flow of the elders is somewhat based on that sort of relationship, because it's like, oh, we're learning from you, and now we're gonna be even greater than we were over time as a team that sticks together.
Like, not that other developers or publishers don't struggle with this, because, like, I think Nintendo's somewhat of an outlier. But
Yeah.
they have so much retention of their talent that, like, it's kind of unreal. Because you can't even necessarily look at it as, like, a cultural thing of, like, Western versus Eastern, because Sony's Japanese studios had pretty big problems too. They had, they don't keep talent with Nintendo it's not even just like it's because of that. It's just like, it's just something immutable within how they do things that just keeps people around and keeps like a very high hit ratio of games that's pretty much
like
incomparable.
even just trying out Mario Paint, I can see how it's been special for literally longer than I've been alive. I can't wait to play that with my sister. It'll really, because she's an artist herself, she will be very pleased with that, I think. I also am looking forward to Drag X Drive. This is why you make games for specific systems, because then you can innovate. You know? Like, the way it works with the motion controls is just so cool. And it's promoting disability acceptance. Sign me up. I'm super excited. And this is a $20 experiment that, like, just shows what the tech can do. That's fine. I don't... Oh, I think we forgot the Cannon of Rage. I'm gonna grab it. Hang on.
Why don't we swing by Outpost now?
Oh.
I thought we'd be great time after this island, but we're not. We'll probably do one more. We'll swing by Outpost real quick.
Yeah.
Put on the ship. Let me just see what our next island's gonna be.
Fair. Okay.
So we're gonna go to Tri Rock Isle. We have an outpost not far from us. We'll just swing by there.
Yeah, and then I'll just dump everything on the dock. I'll sell it in the Mermaid. That works for me.
I just want to get rid of it.
Oh.
Like everything else we're doing is fine.
That's fair. That's fair. I didn't know what you felt about that.
I just don't want to have to maybe, we could babysit again and just drop it off. Either way.
Yeah, I'll run that and then Mermaid. How about that? Because I don't think it... I don't think it's actually, like, burning up automatically. It's if you deploy it and then climb into Cannon of Rage, or use Cannon of Rage. So it's just a cannon that you load a cannonball with, but it has a chance of exploding. So it's not like there's a rush, actually. If you still want to drop it off on an outpost, then we can, but it seems like it's not actually gaining rage. To the outpost? Or... Okay, fair enough. And then you can retract it. So... It is really cool that you can deploy this anywhere, so you could theoretically, like, ambush people from a different island, or from a different point in the island that they don't expect, or something like that. Just retracting. Come on. You can do it. You can not lose the Y. Thank you. Okay. So, the other thing is that when a game is a new concept, generally, the second version is way better in terms of gameplay. And generally, it is an improvement in sales as well. Look at the leap from Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2. If Ubisoft had canceled that just because sales were lower than expected, whatever the fuck that means, then we wouldn't have gotten Ubisoft's one major series that they really are working on left. So, building things takes time. You need patience for it. And what Nintendo is building now, what they've patiently spun, is the new family media empire for the next decade, probably. Even if the PS6 and Xbox Series whatever outsell the Switch 2 in the end, which is unlikely, by the way. But so I'm gonna balance on rope. That'll make it easier. And there we go. Anyway, so I guess I just sell this to whomever at the Sovereigns or. Oh, well, I sold it to the merchants. That worked. Yeah, it's more of a weapon. That's fine. It's worth selling at the end when everything else is, but yeah, no.
I
Yeah. I guess not. Is the yeah. So as I was saying, I mean, you've experienced this firsthand yourself with Epic Universe, and for those who don't know, the link to that will be in the description. But anyway, so they have a ton of family-friendly characters who don't have a lot of baggage, like in terms of writing. You know, in terms of like Disney, they based their family empire off of European fairy tales, which then became a problem when those fairy tales were found to be outdated later and needed changes, and then that caused a fandom civil war. You know, it's a very silly one, but it makes sense because, you know, this is a fought-over thing. The fairy tales are not as easy anymore. Nintendo created their own fairy tales, you know? And though they don't have to have that cultural baggage necessarily. Though there have been some, you know, weird racist moments, like in Super Mario Odyssey with the sombrero, for instance. But, you know, like, with a large movie, for instance, they have a cast of 2 Italian plumbers going down a warp pipe and fighting all these weird creatures, but it all works because the energy makes sense. Even if the plot is very bare bones for the Super Mario Brothers movie, that's all it needed to be to show that it worked. Because, well, I did something similar. I just saw Fantastic Four and Superman. And basically the same verdict for both. They could have been better, but they were really great. Like, the plot was... The plot for both is basically, like, these symbols that are optimistic, wondering if they're supposed to be optimistic, and then deciding to be optimistic. Like, very kindness is old-fashioned, but maybe that's what we need right now in this world. It feels very of the moment, though perhaps a little bit hard to swallow sometimes because of the fact that there isn't a Superman to free people from Alligator Alcatraz or wherever, where they're being held without due process or ability to contact their attorneys. You know, people being eaten alive by mosquitoes in Florida, in a concentration camp. And yet we can go to the movies. Because America has always been half slave and half free, basically. It's always relied on exploiting people to do that. And so it's interesting to see these 2 movies tackle American optimism. Like, 1 through 60s science, weird science in the Fantastic Four sense, which did get me giddy, because that era of technology and computing and stuff is really fascinating to me. And then the other one is Superman for the modern day, but with a Silver Age tone, if that makes any sense. That kind of makes the obvious Palestine stand-in conflict very flat and uninteresting, because the writing for things is very one-dimensional around that, but the other one-dimensional characters add depth by really owning their scenes. Like, Lex Luthor's mainly driven by jealousy of Superman, but it's actually very interesting how that comes about and how he's, like, actually trying to execute on that. He's much smarter and more cunning than I've seen in any adaptation of him. And, well, everybody else was good in that, and Fantastic Four. Like, in terms of performances, I have no complaints. In terms of graphics, I have no complaints. It's just, you know, when you step outside the theater, you think, oh, that plot made no goddamn sense. But it's also a comic book, so, and the tone doesn't take itself too seriously, so you don't really mind and you enjoy it. Also, I got 25 ancient coins for some reason. Well, I don't have the Plunder Pass, so...
Well, the free one.
Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, duh.
Yeah, but I've been trying to make plans to go to the movies for aspects for that and so I'm planning to see it Saturday morning.
Yeah, that could be good.
So we're going to see Superman Saturday morning, and if there happens to be a Fantastic Four showtime that lines up for one of the options Superman, I just go.
Fantastic Four! Sorry, that theme is stuck in my head. There were... Basically, my brain, after I saw both movies, was, in terms of, like, earworms, had 3 earworms in there. 3 or 4, but yeah, 3 definitely. So one of them was the Lagoon Layer theme from dkbananza. Oh yeah, the 4th one, the Zebra transformation theme. Zebra, zebra. Be prepared to hum that. Exactly. And then Fantastic Four. and then Superman, which was the weakest for me because it's very fragmentary and it's like, oh, we're hinting at it at first, but I get why they did it in the context of the movie. Like, I get why, they beat up Superman. I get why, the Fantastic Four is not including Doctor Doom yet. Like, I get these things from a logical perspective outside of the story. Sometimes they can detract with the writing. But, again, fantastic movies. Not perfect, not like, drop $25 to see them, because I got cheaper screenings for both with Fantastic Four and Superman, because my parents had paid $25 each for the 3 of us to go see Jurassic World Rebirth, and that... Well, it was for the big show, which at Alamo Drafthouse, which I just realized is owned by Sony. Yeah, which I just realized is owned by Sony now, because, so that complicates my whole ethical thing of trying not to support Sony for their use of AI, but at the same time, it seems like AI is everywhere now, and we're kind of fucked.
Listen, I'm all for whatever ethical stance you want to take, but I think, unfortunately, that's too bad. I'm seeing a lot more companies all over, unfortunately.
They're acquiring their way into locking us in forever, and they're pretty soon going to require IDs for everything online. It doesn't stop with, stuff that's not supposed for kids. That's never where it stops. Never. Because that was used to censor comic books back in the day. Think of the children. Yep, radio, think of the children. Television, think of the children. Well, okay, maybe a little bit, but maybe a little bit true. But, I think that just any kind of big technological change takes a couple of decades to get used to for people. And maybe I'll get used to the idea of AI. I just won't ever personally use it for my own projects and will never work with anyone who demands that I compromise on that when it comes to my characters in my steampunk universe and stuff, because I put my heart and my intent into that. And that's what art is about. Machines do not understand art, and they never will. However, people do. And you know what? Again, if they're using it for these as a tool in the background, then actually to generate trees, then polishing it later. I mean, we've harped on that point forever too, but
I'm not so bothered by artwork
it's just the Ashley Birch thing that really bothers me. So the lady who played Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica has a podcast, and had her on and asked her how she felt, and she just really felt violated. I don't blame her, and that the replacing the human voices part is what worries me. Because it's not so much that they're going to replace Ashley Birch, it's that they're not going to replace Ashley Birch when she dies. Why would they? Because by then they can just copy that. And so it's like, well... Yeah, okay. Awesome. But yeah, another aspect of the art of Nintendo that I forgot to mention is the Zelda movie. That is going to be where people start taking them a little bit more seriously, I think, because it'll be beautiful and cinematic and gorgeous, and we'll have 2 new live actors who will grow into the role as that they've been assigned with Link and Zelda. They look similar enough, and it's very difficult with actor searches. Just because you can make up whatever you want with a fictional character, and then you actually have to find somebody to fill it. And then, then they have all these synergies that are natural and not like, oh, Disney acquired Star Wars, so now they're going to force all these things, or Disney's Marvel now, so, or The Simpsons joking about everything being Disney.
Nintendo has a lot of untapped potential with the stuff that they had.
2026 triple threat for which I hope they have at a September direct for Mario 40, because, well, that seems very likely to me. Is they have the Super Mario Bros. Movie 2 for next year. And then they also have 3D Mario for the fall. The movie in the summer, in the fall for the game. And then you also have Epic Universe there, with Mario Kart, the ride, already there for a Mario thing, if you don't want to necessarily do a whole new Mario ride, right? But they could absolutely add more Mario-related theming, even to Super Nintendo World. Or just around the park, or anything that they can think of to promote at this highly profitable and exciting tourist destination. Again, the synergies are just... the company's ideas are outgrowing, not where this shambolic cluster of companies now. Because I think what happened with Microsoft is their eyes got bigger than their stomach. I think things were fine. Like, I was fine with the proposition of the smaller developers being acquired, because I'm like, okay, now they're safe. Like Obsidian, like Playground Games, except, well, I'll get to that, but with Fable being delayed forever, and Forza Horizon 6, and, and now Turn 10 basically being gutted into turning into a support studio because Forza Motorsport just wasn't profitable enough, I guess, for them. Even though Game Pass apparently is, because they just don't include the development costs, I suppose, because Game Pass isn't the only way the game is being sold, which kind of makes sense, except that you're not accounting for the last first-party sales so much.
You have to account for the fact that you probably would have made a decent chunk of change. Like, I would have been still buying a lot of Microsoft first-party stuff, but I haven't had to buy anything first-party from them aside from, like, once the Shinobi or whatever.
I mean, the
2018.
The first party of it all has actually been pretty good this year. Between South of Midnight, Doom the Dark Ages, and Grounded 2. I haven't complained about the games.
They have a great lineup this year. It's just overshadowed by a lot of the dumb stuff.
Seriously, they better hope the Outer Worlds 2s and Gears and Call of Duty save their asses in the fall, basically. And then, meanwhile, PlayStation's gonna breathe a sigh of relief because... they literally only have Ghosts of Yotei for the fall and had Death Stranding 2 in the spring, and that's it for exclusives. They're basically being bailed out by Microsoft with, pre-orders of Forza Horizon and all that topping the charts.
At this point in time, it's a very unique situation where, Microsoft is selling crazy numbers on, especially Forza on PlayStation. It's like, I don't know. I think Horizon 5 would do pretty well. Not I don't think Microsoft's wildest expectations for it to do as well as it has.
And Sea of Thieves did well too, though apparently that hasn't translated into a big injection of new content as we've been discussing. But for the Microsoft stuff in general, where they really started to get out of control was the Bethesda and Activision acquisitions, because now people were like, these franchises were previously making big games that were multi-platform, now you're going to take them exclusive? I would have said, you know what? Our firm stance is this, because that seems to be what's happening with the Sony porting, is that live service and smaller titles go multi-platform day and date to help develop the single-player games that people buy for the stories. And then are timed exclusives or whatever. But still...
I never, I'm in general, in favor of putting more games more places, but that, I understand when people are like, oh, this is, it definitely puts the future of ecosystem in question. That's the one thing that I ever push back on putting games everywhere. qualms about that, but that's looking like more and more that Xbox hardware sales is diminishing more and more. It's like, oh, I don't know about
Yeah.
your ad selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but basically, because they couldn't take a lot of these exclusives like they wanted to, they had to go multi-plat, and then they got confused and hit themselves in their confusion, and then they also got distracted.
Multi-platform outside of some, basically all that's left is Halo. That's just by virtue of there not being a new Halo project announced.
Yeah.
Formally yet.
Basically,
When there is new Halo, I don't think it will rise or start formally when it is multi-platform. I think that's a when not.
again, find something for the marquee box. The 83% of your damn Game Pass subscriptions that you care about so much is on. As long as they can come up with that for the next thing, I don't care anymore. As long as I can play them for cheap. Although the Game Pass trap is starting to close around my neck a little bit, because I don't want to be paying $20 a month for this. That's not been worth it at all. Well, the other thing was that Microsoft got distracted by all the lawsuits with the government, so they couldn't really manage their first-party studios so well because they were too busy swallowing. Digest your dinner first before dessert, for $69 billion, which is when Microsoft was like, hey, you need to make money. But actually, we're also going to throw $84 billion while we're a $4 trillion value company at autocorrect for idiots. That's what LLMs are. That's what AI is. And so the fact that they're doing that while also saying, oh, Xbox did the best that it's ever done. Give me a fucking break. You're so out of touch now, Phil Spencer. Just retire already and pretend to fish. Because there was like a Gone Fishing expansion that they were promoting recently, and they were, doing little plastic fishies, which just seemed like such a forced moment with the three executives there. And it's like, you don't even know what you're doing anymore. Nobody knows what they're doing anymore at a lot of these major companies. They're just trying to survive a lot of the political turmoil. I get it, but also by sucking a dictator off. A lot of the time, such as with the Colbert stuff. It's very scary where art is going in the United States of America right now. Just 6 or 7 months into this guy's term. But in any case, so overall, pretty good show. Pretty good show. I am thinking that Nintendo has a pretty set fall, and that 2025 is their year to lose. In terms of whatever shambolic console war there is left. Only Nintendo seems to really have nailed the classic case for consoles, and just seems to be able to keep it going for the next generation at least. But even then, they've put mobile games up, and apparently Fire Emblem Engage made $8.8 billion, which is more than enough to fund their games for the next decade as well. So, there's all sorts of things that... Yeah. And maybe that's what Sony's hoping with Shinobi, is that, there will be a good uptick of interest. And there is, for me, again, for Shinobi specifically. We shall see what other games they port later. Again, they should still keep in mind that the people who spend the most money on their hardware and games should feel like not second-class citizens a little bit. Something to distinguish why, I should spend $600 on an Xbox Series X, or $700 on a PS5 Pro, or $1,000 on a PS6 or Xbox Series whatever. But that's just going to be what they're figuring out. Right now, I'm happy with Nintendo Switch 2 plus Grounded. Anyway, So you said you're free next on Saturday. What's the next date after that before you come over?
Let's see. So heading over. Definitely one day I'd be free. I think I need to double check my work schedule, but I think Tuesday. Next day.
Tuesday will be a perfect offline day for for us to try Grounded together, perhaps, if you manage to put any time into that at all. And
Again, the next 3 days, I travel a lot, so
Mhm.
hopefully I can find time to install it. Just playing a lot of Bonanza.
Mhm.
Also, I forgot to mention this, but I did get Final Fantasy 16.
I figured, since you hadn't mentioned it before, that you had.
Yeah, so that was, I honestly like the last third of that game, like the end game, so much more because they give kind of a lot of, like they open up the abilities. So I think at the end of the game, it really sold me.
I'll wait for a sale.
Very happy I played it.
I have too many RPGs right now.
Yeah, for me, it's beyond playing it out of obligation, because that's what I felt like I was doing the first maybe 10 hours. It's like, well, I played every number of Final Fantasy. Might as well play this one too.
I haven't.
But
Yeah.
if I got the midway point in the last third of the game, it really won me over.
That's great.
Very, very good game.
I'm happy for you. And so speaking of other excellent game, Claire Obscure, I'm gonna need some help figuring out where I need to go next. I might also be a little bit rusty, but when you come over, we can do that. And then there's Tony Hawk. Any retro games you want to bring by for like Wii, because I have a Wii U, are also fine. Or Xbox 360 or whatever. Switch.
Bring my game case. I got plenty.
Sounds good to me. But like, yeah, there's also a lot of original Xbox games that I haven't ever really done like LAN or anything like that with, and you know, I could hang out with you and Billy and maybe one other person, and then we do that kind of classic console feeling that I haven't had in so long of local multiplayer. And then the clips will of the best parts, we'll smush them together and we'll upload that for the next show, you know, just to give ourselves a break. Because I'm also going up to see my sister's wedding that week anyway, so I won't have a lot of free time. But anyway, you have a good one.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
And you all have a good one as well. In the night must stop. In the night must stop.